Sup, dudes? Ray here. So I feel like I picked a hell of a time to try to jump into the YouTube music slash guitar slash metal scene. I guess it's dying from what I'm looking at, right? I don't know. I watched a few videos from a few creators that I really enjoy, actually. Jared Dines, Bradley Hall, Charles Berthound. I can't. Charles B, bro. I'm sorry. I keep fucking your name up, bro. For some reason, I can't say it. I apologize. They all had some pretty interesting perspectives on the heavy metal slash music YouTube scene. Apparently, it's in its death throes. It's dying. There's a lot of shit going on, right? And so I spent some time watching the videos, and I wanted to add some unique perspective to it. I added some commentary to it. I felt like I had a lot to talk about. And so what I did was found one thing in each of their videos that I wanted to discuss and offer either a point or a perspective to. And then at the end of this, I'm going to kind of share my own opinions on this and kind of give my perspective on it. But what is my perspective actually worth, right? I don't have a successful YouTube channel. I don't even have 500 followers. I don't qualify for AdSense. For all intents and purposes, this shouldn't involve me, but I see a lot of parallels, and I'll get into that later on. But let me offer some of my credentials, I guess, that I feel like helps me add the perspective that I do add on these things. I've been playing guitar for about over 20 years now. I've been playing in bands for about 20 years. I've played local shows, nothing too crazy, wrote some pretty cool songs. Music has been my life since I was a kid, child born into it, you know. My father is a musician. He's played drums in so many different bands. And so I grew up all around that. Some of my first memories were, you know, Black Sabbath albums and shit, right? So I am a Hesher when it comes to that. And if you guys don't know what a Hesher is, look it up. No, it's an old school term for like old school metalheads, denim battle vests, all that shit, right? Heavy metal to me is a philosophy. It's a lifestyle. You know, it's a thought process. I've discovered so many beautiful things about life through heavy metal, through the communities, through the people. And let me tell you, man, even today, it's not going anywhere. Heavy metal, music, all that shit, the good shit, it's not going to die. Sure, it's not as popular as it was before, but it's alive and well. You know, look at your local scenes, even now. But these creators do add perspectives and valid points to the whole thing. Now, before we get into this, I want to make it clear that this wasn't scripted. I tried to script this out. I've actually been trying to write this video for days now, and it just doesn't come together. So I've been just kind of riffing it, going off the top of my head and kind of just reacting normal to it, because I feel like something like this is important enough to have a natural reaction. And hopefully we'll use this as a way of getting my name out there. You know, I mean, let's face it, I'm on this platform. I'm doing this for a particular reason. The biggest one is I like to express myself, sure. You know, I love expressing myself through music. I've always found a way to do it, and I think sharing that is a beautiful thing. You know, I think being able to connect with somebody on that kind of level, that awe-inspiring emotional level, is something very beautiful. And so here I am. I've done this before. I've released YouTube videos a long ass time ago. I think 2007. It's still on my channel. Check it out. And it's pretty cool. You know, I like the whole idea of doing that. So that's why I'm on here. That's why I'm doing this. The second reason is, let's face it, you know, who doesn't want to earn a living doing what they love, right? And looking at these videos, it's kind of scary, because maybe the boat is passed. Maybe the ship is sailed. Maybe I've missed it, right? Am I able to earn a living on this? Am I able to at least pay bills? I think that's something we'll discuss later on, right? That's something that I think we'll kind of work our way towards as the video progresses. But in the meantime, I want to say welcome to my channel. Music, heavy metal, guitar, all of it, blues. I love it. All of it. It's all fucking awesome. And this channel I'm going to dedicate to really expressing myself. I wouldn't call this a guitar YouTube channel strictly, and I wouldn't call this strictly a music YouTube channel, but it's going to be real heavy metal, guitar, music influenced. As you can see, through all this shit all on the wall, there's comic books on the wall there. I'm a huge nerd. this channel, you're just going to get an ass load of video games, comic books, nerd culture, music, metal culture, all of it, bro. I am here to express myself. And so consider this my introductory video. Anyways, let's get on with it.
Oh. So, is it just me, or is guitar YouTube and metal YouTube like pretty much completely dead by this point? Like, when I first started back in 2019, it seemed like there were tons of amazing big channels creating so much sick, original, entertaining content, like Jared Dines, Stevie T, K-Mac, Rob Scallon, Nick Nocturnal, Rudy Ayub, Samurai Guitarist, 10-second songs, Davey 504. There was so much good shit. It's crazy. It felt like everyone was having a great time creating content and making exactly what they wanted, right? No compromises. And I think it like really reflected in the quality of the videos back then. So what the bloody hell happened? And like a few of those older channels, they're still going, I guess. But most of them have either like quit, or like retired, or just let their channels deteriorate into a shadow of their former selves. When scrolling my homepage these days, I very rarely see a video that like instantly jumps out and makes me think, oh yeah, I really want to watch that. That looks intriguing. Yeah, very rarely. Now it's just like a barrage of cringe reaction videos of like the latest songs, NPC commentary videos on the latest drama that everyone will have forgotten about probably by like, you know, the next month. Low effort guitar lesson videos that really just exist to try and sell you extremely overpriced courses, gear review videos, trying to convince you that the latest big amp sim plugin is definitely, absolutely 100% unique and very different compared to all the other countless ones on the market, right? My god, bullshit. And maybe it's just me, but...
The answer is easy, Bradley. Money. Consumerism. Corporatization. All of that became involved with the metal / guitar music industry, or YouTube channels, because it got popular. You know, you can almost kind of compare this to the glam metal scene, right? Right before the glam metal scene became a thing, you saw guitarists like Randy Rhoads, Van Halen, kind of on the verge of that, right? Time wise, they weren't glam metal artists, obviously, but they were real virtuosos and really innovative. They were something new. They kind of changed the way songwriting was for the time, right? They really stamped guitaring pretty hard into the mainstream world with that shit. And not soon after, companies got involved. All of a sudden, you're getting glam metal bands. It was more about the image, the gear, everything else, right? And then all of a sudden, look at everybody ripping off Eddie Van Halen's techniques. Look at everybody ripping off Randy Rhoads. Everybody was trying to be Randy Rhoads. Everybody was trying to be Eddie Van Halen, right? And sure, in that era, you got your Michelangelo Barrios. You got the people that played for Ozzy, Jake Lee, right? You got some pretty good people, but for the most part, how many glam metal bands were there? How much of the music industry was saturated with bullshit at the time? And not only that, but that's around the time that like sponsorships and record labels and all this shit started really getting toxic. And then all of a sudden you had to play this amp, or you had to play this guitar, and you know, all of a sudden you had to sign with this label. This fucking suit can tell you how to play music. And all of a sudden, next, all these bands weren't even writing their own music. They was getting written by the fucking record label, right? Following a formula that was based on statistics to sell. That's all it was. And that's all it is now. Well, not all it is, but that's all of what you're seeing. And I'm not saying that like all the greats you mentioned and all the people that are really in this passionately are on there for the wrong reasons. This has nothing to do with any particular creator. I'm more or less talking about the engine that pushes all this stuff. YouTube, Google, all that, right? AdSense, take AdSense, for example, right? That's not going to cater to the market that you may want. that's going to cater to the most generally accepted market. That's gonna cater to the casual audience. It's gonna cater to people who might not be as passionate or even give a damn about the passion behind music. Instead, they want brain rot and just look at something pretty, and that's what you're getting. A lot of people we're living in an age of consumerism, and we're living in an age of ease of access. Nobody wants to take time to do anything anymore. Everybody wants to instantly access whatever there is they're consuming, right? So of course somebody's going to learn how to be a grandmaster guitarist in 5 minutes using 3 easy steps. They're going to take that over, hey, let's learn the Phrygian scale and figure out how to express yourself through it, right? It's completely different things. And that's what we're in. But that doesn't mean that that the metal scene is dying, right? This isn't the death of YouTube guitaring. This isn't the death of the YouTube metal scene, not by a long shot. This is more or less just a trimming of the fat, right? Like I said, let's look at the glam metal days again. How many bands from that era still have relevancy now? How many bands are still doing their thing? And how many of those bands are only around because of things outside of actual musicianship? How many motherfuckers play their bass unplugged and don't really play the bass tracks on their songs? And then how many bands kick out the only real active member, aka the guitarist, and have some fat lead singer sitting there huffing and puffing and almost being a parody of himself back in the day? Not that I'm mentioning anybody specific, of course not.
YouTube definitely demands a lot from you these days compared to back in the day. Back in the golden days of yore, literally all you had to do was film a video, edit it, upload it, and collect the AdSense money. That's it. Like, fucking easy, right? But now, you also have to worry about shorts, optimizing video titles and thumbnails, keeping your community engaged, and also ad revenue is, quite a bit lower than it used to be back in those days. So for a lot of creators, it's essential to have some form of business or businesses on the side, to supplement the income so you can pay the bills, Oh, God. So, yeah, it's...
Oh, blue, 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 blue. It was a lot easier to post videos back then, to get noticed, I guess, right? I mean, the process is still the same as far as, like, how to do it. You record a video, slap it on there. I don't know about AdSense. I don't have AdSense, so... But now you have to jump through all these hoops. Now you have to do all this extra shit on top of just playing guitar if you want to pay your bills doing this. And once again, let's look at the machine. Whenever money's involved like that, whenever a massive amount of money is involved like that, and all of a sudden you get corporations involved and how they're paying your bills, it immediately becomes a lot less about passion. Sure, you want to be creative and do your own thing, but at the same time, paying bills doing it is also the dream, right? It's the dream to get paid doing what you love, to be a creator. There's no real easy way around it. You really want to make it. You look at the people that did. You look at Metallica when they were recording Kill 'Em All. Look at the way they were living in a fucking recording studio, eating bologna on a fucking just bologna, right? And choosing beer over food some nights, right? You look at Megadeth and the drug abuse and all that shit he went through, right? I think there were 4 albums in and still broke as fuck, pawning off equipment and stuff. It reminds me of a story. I was hanging with my friend a long time ago. We were drinking really heavily and talking about kind of the music industry. He misquoted a line from a song. Essentially, it goes, "You got to suffer your bliss." That's the misquote. I don't know what the actual quote was, but it stuck with me because you really have to. You really want to be passionate about this. You really want to express yourself through this. You want this to be your avenue. You got to bleed for it. You got to put in the hours. You look at any of the greats, you look at their stories, and it's the same thing. Well, they didn't just join a machine and instantly became millionaires. They really had to hinge their life on it. They really had to do all or nothing. And I almost feel like that's kind of like a rite of passage in anything. It doesn't just pertain to music. You look at the sports. You look at like how many people suffered for sports, or not even that, art in general, expression, any of it. There's always those ones that stand above the rest because they decided that it was worth it, that the bullshit was worth it. And they didn't compromise on any of it. You look at Megadeth. I mean, like, sure, Megadeth compromised. You look at the instances where they did with fucking Risk, and you see what you get, right? When Dave's at his best, you get albums like Dystopia. You get albums like Holy Wars. Not Holy Wars, Rest in Peace. You get songs like Holy Wars, right? Another band that never compromised was Pantera. Look at what they were doing, especially in the grunge era when, what are those fucking shirts? When flannel shirts were selling like hotcakes, right? And all of a sudden, it wasn't cool playing guitar solos anymore. You would rather just be brooding and sing about just being depressed all the time or whatever, right? Pantera was still putting out banger after banger after banger after banger after banger. They stayed like an iron bar, man. Look at where the band is now. Look at the name. Look at the legacy. So yeah, it's a lot harder and it's a lot more bullshit. Does that mean you have to compromise? Well, I guess that depends on how comfortable you want to be. Stevie Ray Vaughan was living in a halfway house when he was recording some of his albums. Music is very sacred. It's something that can really transform your life. I'm sure everybody watching has already experienced that, especially people like Bradley, Jared, and Charlie. All right, Bradley, I think that's a good stopping point.
I do think they're missing another really big factor, which I think the algorithm has just completely shifted and it's not showing me, and I think a lot of you guys, the type of videos that you actually want to see. I used to open up my phone or laptop or whatever it is, get on YouTube and just immediately see a selection of videos that I'm actually really interested in. It might be videos by like Davey, Burnt, Bradley Hall, Ichika, all of these guys who I follow. I still follow them now, but I rarely see their videos on the homepage. Now I'll open up YouTube and it's just some random viral clips, usually something either political or current affairs based. And, you know, it's good to be informed about those things, but there's only so many times I can watch a video about X political crisis. It's very common for me now to like open up YouTube, I'll scroll, not really see anything, scroll a bit more, and then just give up after a minute or two because I just can't find a video that interests me. Or maybe I'll search, I'll just see like what, I don't know, Burnt's latest video is. I think what this means is that...
So he mentioned the algorithm and how it's changed, and you're right, it has. You also mentioned how you felt that was different from what Jared Dines and Bradley Hall were saying, and it's kind of the same. You know, the burnout is especially related to it, especially when you're trying to meet those algorithm standards, right? You got to do all this extra bullshit. There's a good analogy for this. Let's look at the radio. Let's look at FM radio. Back in my day, I'm about to say some real old man shit right here. In the early 90s, late 80s, there was a particular radio station, and I'm not going to tell what it is because I don't. It played a lot of heavy metal. I remember listening to like Metallica, Pantera, Megadeth, all in the same block, right? It was just crazy because these bands are coming out with new music. And when Enter Sandman came out, that shit was everywhere. And then metal got replaced with grunge. Grunge was a new fad. Grunge was a new thing. Alternative music, right? All of a sudden playing guitar solos wasn't cool anymore. And so during that time, try finding like an Exodus song on the radio. Try listening to Testament, or sometimes you'll get Anthrax on the radio, sure. But the fad was over. Heavy metal was kind of waning at that point, and all of a sudden the radio station played what people wanted to play because, well, people wanted to hear, the majority of people, because the radio station, like YouTube, is a corporate-driven entity. It is a vehicle for advertisers. That's all it is, to get advertisers right in front of you and right in front of the most amount of people that they can to maximize profits. And for a while, heavy metal was popular enough. Metallica, Pantera, all those bands were big enough to push all those things. Like you guys We're at the peak of guitar YouTubing, heavy metal YouTubing, right? It was an easy vehicle because people were attached to it. It was a new, cool, interesting thing. And now the kids are done playing with their toys. They're tired of it. All of a sudden, guitar YouTube, music YouTube, heavy metal YouTube just isn't cool anymore. And so the YouTube algorithm is going to do what it was designed to do and find the next high statistic, push that out for advertisers to once again suckle onto and brainwash the masses. There's a movie. I feel like everybody needs to watch this movie. Like I said, I'm not a political person, but this movie came out in the 90s and is such a it's almost prophetic. It's almost just crazily prophetic. And it was called Idiocracy. I'm not going to say anything about what it is or what's involved or why it's even prophetic. You have to watch it on your own. If you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That shit predicted today. It blows my mind how accurate a lot of that stuff was. But back on point, you're right. You're not going to see any of that stuff anymore because doesn't sell. It's not the trend anymore. It's not the flavor of the month. It's something completely different. It is political commentary. It is all that bullshit. It is fear mongering. It's essentially, and ironically, it's become the modern day news. It's become all these news channels because fear sells, all that shit sells. And I'm not going to get too much into it. That's a completely different rant for a completely different video. But the algorithm does play a big part. And unfortunately, now in this current time, the algorithm isn't your friend. It's not going to be my friend. It's not going to be Jared's friend. It's not going to be Bradley's friend. Anybody that wants to champion the banner of heavy metal, guitaring, fun, and music shit, it's not going to be your friend. But you can still find ways to support the scene. There's one thing he said that kind of made me like, okay, well, why? And that's when you said that you just turn off YouTube after what you were looking for wasn't on the front page. And I get it, just turn off the radio, right? But how do you support the scene at that point? What do you do? Once again, going back to this old man shit that old men used to do back in the day, go exploring, right? I hated the fucking radio. So what I did is I found any and every CD or tape cassette outlet that I could find in my immediate vicinity. And I wasn't even looking for anybody in particular. What I like to do was circle through the vinyl, find a fucking just crazy ass fucking album. Oh, this looks fucking tight. Put it on. And all of a sudden I'm listening to fucking Skull Beneath My Skin by Megadeth for the first time, right? All of a sudden I'm listening to Killing Is My Business. Like, holy shit. Imagine it was like archaeology back then, man. It just like you would go in and you just find the coolest fucking looking thing in the world. Fuck what the mainstream says. Fuck all of that. You would just me and that album. And the same thing happened when I discovered Rust in Peace. You mean to tell me you pick up a CD cover and it's got the picture of a fucking skeleton holding kryptonite over an alien while George Bush is staring in the background and you're not going to want to listen to that album, right? So it's out there, man. The scene's out there. The scene's going to be alive. Once again, it's not dying. It's just constricting. It's losing fat. It has become the redheaded stepchild of the YouTube family. But another movie a lot of y'all motherfuckers need to watch is Problem Child, because he was a redheaded stepchild, but he didn't give a shit. He still did what he fucking wanted. Fuck him. I'm sorry this is so profanity ridden, but I'm real passionate about this stuff because it was the music industry. I've seen this before in the metal world, in the metal industry. I've seen the bands go through the same shit. I've talked to people and I've talked to other bands when I was playing shows. I've seen them rise. I've seen them fall. I didn't do anything big or crazy. I played a bunch of local shows, but it's all relative, right? But yeah, when you're out there, find something fun to watch. If the algorithm isn't there, fuck it. Find something then, use the search function. It's hard. You're going to have to do a little digging, but all the good, valuable shit is worth digging deep for. And he brings up a point. Bradley Hall brings up a point, and Jared Dines brings up a point. And I'll talk more about that point later. But there are ways of dealing with this. And I think his solution, Bradley's solution, and Jared's solution are pretty spot on. Charlie Berthound. I'm sorry if I keep fucking your name up, bro. Charles B. The very first video I seen on this guy, actually, was when you played the fretless bass for the first time. That so good, so fucking good, man. You really like as a bass player, dude. You're really solid. You're really fucking solid, bro. That's pretty awesome. Anyways, yeah. So now, next.
And it is not healthy. And, you know, I just wish nothing but the best for Nick. This industry eats people alive if you let it. So kind of going back to the original topic, has guitar YouTube and metal YouTube gotten stale? I mean, yes, a little bit, right? It's like everything. When something is new and being done for the first time, it's exciting, right? People pay attention. It's like anything else. Once it's been done for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years at this point, it kind of becomes stale and boring. That's just the natural flow of how things work. Another element of this too is that a lot of musicians spend years trying to be heard, but then once people are listening, they have nothing left to say. You know, I've been there for sure. You spend years and years and years trying to build up your YouTube channel, and then once you have a huge following, you've done all your content that you've really wanted to do. You've said everything that you really want to say. There's not really much left to say, and so you kind of have to start forcing
That I kind of want to contest. I've been thinking about him saying that, and I'm going to be honest with you. I've watched this video and Bradley's and their videos numerous times since the day they've dropped. Numerous times. This I kind of want to contest because I feel like if you're passionate about it, right? If you're really like, if this is you, you are this. Me personally, I could never shut up about it. I don't think I'll ever run out of ideas. I don't think I'll ever run out of, and granted, you know, I haven't made YouTube content for an extended period of time, but I have played guitar in bands and I have created music for over 20 years. And the one thing, honestly, the biggest thing about it that I love, that I adore, that I really feed into is the fact that I can pick that up and express myself at any given moment. And that's, to me, this kind of goes down and categorized into kind of like how I play guitar, how I learned how to play guitar, why I play guitar, right? I'm going to give you a little TLDR. I don't want to get too much into it. That might be a whole different video. But I play guitar specifically just to express myself. Everything I've ever learned as far as playing guitar, however limited or expansive it may be, I only learned because I wanted to use that tool to express myself. And so I never really approached it from a learning standpoint, right? I didn't look at it mathematically. I didn't look at it from a technique point. I really just wanted to make noise and find ways to cope with emotions that are hard to cope with. Anger, frustration, sadness, all that shit, right? And to express things and emotions and shit that I can't put out into words. Because I approach it like that, you could any day I'll pick that up and I'll fucking just write something. I don't know. I become so, and sure, it might not be the most technical fucking thing in the world, right? But it'll be something that you will feel. It'll be something that I can lay out there. And I don't think I'll ever run out of ideas coming at it that way, because you're always experiencing something new, or you're always dealing with new emotions. If you're living your life, right? If you're living, then you're going to have new experiences. You're going to have new emotional connections, new memories, all that shit. As long as you have that, as long as I have that, I'll always have something to put out there. At least I feel like I would. But I do kind of see the perspective, especially if you're playing specifically to be a part of that algorithm. Once again, back to the other guys, you got to make shorts. You got to do X amount of things and X amount of times. You got to do all that, right? If you want to stay relevant, you want to make the big bucks, you want the AdSense to kick in, you want all that, right? And that's corporate life for you. Name any corporation that doesn't have some kind of criteria to meet, some kind of SOP, standard operating procedure, right? Think about all the corporate worlds that have shit narrowed down to a single formulaic process to be successful. No outside thinking, no outside problem solving, no independent thought whatsoever. Follow the rule book, follow the guidelines, consume all that shit. Look at Kellogg's, right? There's cereal, right? Ain't nobody fucking making any cereal outside of how Kellogg's makes the cereal. It's the same thing, and I get it, bro, because how do you fabricate new ideas like that? Where's the formula to create a new idea? Can AI even do something like that, right? Let's talk about technology for a minute. Can these big corporate machines and this massive technology, can that really substitute creativity? Can that substitute emotional expression? Sure, it can replicate it, but it can't create it. You can't create new from that, right? And so if these machines can't do that, then why have those standards anyways? Right? That's just little food for thought, little nugget off my brain on that. If you're feeling like that and you're feeling like you're done with all the content that you've put out and that you can't make any more specific things, it's very easy. Do something different. Pick up flamenco style guitar. How many different styles of guitars are there? Pick up Delta blues, learn to play the slide, right? Learn how to express yourself. Do something different. Right? It's out there. It's not for a lack of trying. It's out there. If you put the effort into it, you're going to find something to really express yourself with. You're going to find something to sell. Anyways, let's move on.
Content that isn't natural to you, it isn't what people fell in love with you in the first place for, right? Reinventing yourself again and again and again is incredibly hard to do no matter what field you are in. And
Reinventing yourself, yes. I think that is very, very hard to do. But I don't think you have to reinvent yourself. I think that you just have to expand yourself. As humans, you grow. I am not the same person I was 5 or 10 years ago. When I was writing some of my earlier music, I don't have that frame of mind anymore. So when I write music now, it's going to be different music because it's coming from a different place than it was way back then when I had a chip on my shoulder, right? I never reinvented myself. I just learned how to express the new things I encountered, the new emotions I encountered. I learned how to take the life I was living and put that into my music and find something that I was either really excited about and express myself there, or find something I was bummed or upset about and express myself there, right? But it was never reinvention. It was never, this is the new and improved Ray. This is just another addition to the House of Ray. And if you think about it like that, it becomes a lot less daunting because Jared, for example, I'm not saying this in a bad way. I would say that your YouTube persona, your YouTube version, what we see now, is just a mere facet of the whole human as he is. Right? There's probably a lot of cool things that you're into that you may not make videos on in YouTube. Instead of reinventing the YouTube Jared, maybe introduce the world to a different side of Jared. And I'll give you a good example of that. Like, I'm real big into video games. I'm also real big into things like Magic the Gathering and comic books, and I'm a huge fucking nerd. When you really peel down the wheedly wheelies and the shredding and all that shit, I am a huge dork. I'm the kind of guy that gets upset about comic movies when they aren't reading the source correctly. I'm that kind of guy. But there's a lot of ways that heavy metal Ray and comic book nerd Ray can really create things. I'll give you a great example is the game Maximum Carnage on Super Nintendo. That game has all 3 of those aspects. It's a comic book video game based off Spider-Man, and it's got one of my favorite villains in Carnage in it. It's a fucking badass video game that's based off a comic book. That's 2 for 2. And not only that, the people that did the soundtrack worked with Green Jello to create the soundtrack. And not only that, but if you look at some of the soundtracks, it is clearly inspired by bands like Black Sabbath, Pantera. One of their songs is essentially just The Mob Rules by Black Sabbath. Another song is essentially the verse riff for I'm Broken by Pantera, right? All 3 of that shit, music, metal, video games, comic books, all wrapped into one. That's not reinventing myself. That's just introducing my audience to something new. Maybe the metal audience didn't know that the original Doom ripped off a lot of heavy metal shit too. And all of a sudden now, instead of just metalheads, we got people that are big into video games. Now we get to explore how heavy metal is infiltrated video games. What about comic books? Heavy metal is so prevalent in comic books. It's so badass, right? So don't think because you have a guitar YouTube channel that you only have to do one thing, right? We are human beings. We are not a product. You are not a product. I think in order to really stand out, be yourself and turn yourself up to max volume. And I feel like if you follow that, I don't think you'll run into things like burnout. I don't think you'll come across a situation where you run out of things to do. If you stay true to yourself and ignore the machine, use the platform, and it's going to be hard because you are going to miss out on a lot of money, but you're trading that money for creative expression. You're trading that money. Think of it as you paying that money to not experience burnout or to be stuck in a rut, to have that freedom. But I'm delving too much into my side of things. But yeah, Jared makes a good point. You know, he makes a really high point about this. And there was one more thing I think I wanted to talk about with him.
Also, what happened to collaboration? I mean, like, my entire channel is collaboration. I love collaboration. And my biggest videos are hands down when I collaborate with a bunch of other musicians. I love it. Lately, I feel like I reach out to other creators all the time and, you know, ask them, can you want to participate in this video? Even shred collabs and stuff like that. And 90% of the time, they'll be like, yeah, sure, that'd be awesome, cool, whatever. But then they never send me their parts. They don't do it. And so it's like, back in the day, the willingness for people to be involved in the growing of themselves and the community and making interesting content seemed so much more active than it is now. Nowadays, it feels like people just kind of don't care. And that might just be the exhaustion of...
Probably don't. And I don't think it's the exhaustion. Once again, I just think it's not the cool thing to do anymore. So let's keep using these heavy metal music analogies here. Back when the Big Four was around and Pantera was still coming out with new content and all that shit, right? How many people were itching to start a heavy metal band? You guys know about that by chance, right? Were you guys around when that thing was big, right? Everybody wanted to be in a heavy metal band. Same thing, once again, with the glam metal stuff, right? Everybody wanted to be Van Halen. It was so easy to, oh, you want to start a heavy metal band? Fuck yeah, bro. Let's start a Pantera, Sepultura cover band, all that shit, bro. It was badass. Now, I would be lucky to find anybody that would even list a few good Pantera songs, much less want to start a band playing heavy metal. You know, not saying a Pantera cover band or anything like that, but just... it's just not popular, man. These guitarists, these musicians, they want to do something different. And I accept it. You know, it's not, I don't hold a grudge against anybody. It is what it is. Musicians want to follow a different type of music, and that's fine, you know. But that's kind of what's happening now, since collabs and heavy metal and thrashing isn't really that cool anymore. You're not going to find many people that want to do it. I'll collab with you, bro. I'll collab all fucking day and night, dude. Let's do something. Once again, just acknowledging my meager place in this whole grand scheme of things, right? I not even have a monetized channel, right? What do I fucking know? But I think a cool idea would be for Jared Dines to give some of that little Jared Dines rub to some new content creators. You know, I'm not saying collab with me or anything like that, although, you know, I'll play music with you, brother. But I think a cool idea would be a series of you finding these newer creators, these up and comers, saying, hey, man, you want to write a song? You want to do a little shred, right? Prop up the new guys. Give them your platform. Share your platform with them. I think that would be really fucking cool. And you'll be planting seeds for the future. You know, and I think Bradley Hall should do the same thing. I think Charlie should do the same thing. That's how this grows. Taking that spotlight, do the same thing Ozzy did when Metallica dropped Master of Puppets. Ozzy took them on tour. That's how this propagates, because it's not going to propagate through the algorithm. We've seen that. It's not going to propagate through AdSense or the radio or any of that. It never has been and never will thrive in that environment. The whole nature of heavy metal is counterculture. So we got to do it ourselves, do the heavy lifting ourselves. But that's the fun of it. That's the grind. That's awesome, you know? So here's my 2 cents on the whole matter. And I think that by now I kind of painted the picture of where I come from as far as where we're at, what this means what do we do going further, right? As far as where we're at in the situation, like I said earlier in the video, the YouTube metal scene isn't going to die. YouTube music scene, guitar scene isn't going to die. It's going to shrink. Yeah. Think about how many heavy metal bands we had, how many thrash metal bands we had. Think about glam metal again, right? I'm starting to sound like I'm a proponent for glam metal. It just ebbs and flows, and that's the nature of things. This is a machine, and I feel like a lot of people forget that. We're not dealing with a platform that's strictly built to make sure we succeed. We're dealing with a corporate machine that will eat up anything that earns $1. It is a natural force. Let's be nerdy here. We're dealing with Galactus. He eats fucking planets. That's what he does. He consumes planets. Is Galactus evil? No. He's a force in nature. He's there to balance life. Is the YouTube machine evil? Not necessarily, right? It is only there to push out advertisements to people. That's really all it is. And anybody that tries to tell you otherwise is lying to you and wants to sell you this fake idea to get you to dedicate yourself more to the machine. At least that's my opinion on it. Sure, there's probably people in the Google space and the YouTube world that are in corporate levels that want to use it as something to express ourselves by and things like that. But for the most part, the dollar rules. And the dollar is going to rule that machine. That dollar is responsible for why we're experiencing this drought to begin with. Because, like Charles mentioned, it's all political bullshit now, dude. It's all brain rot, cringe-worthy reaction, low effort, high yield bullshit. It's a homogenization, right? I mean, but you look at the fucking, let's take Coca-Cola, for example. And when you join the Coca-Cola machine, you're making Coca-Cola. You're following a standard operating procedure. You're not there to critically think. You're not there to create something new. You're not there to do any of that. You're there to earn money by following their rules. And in YouTube, to maximize the amount of money you want to earn, I'm not saying you can't earn money by doing your own thing, but to maximize it and to really support yourself and be on that level, you have a standard operating procedure to follow. And right now, heavy metal YouTube and guitar YouTube, not high on that list, my dude. If you really want to make a living off this, if money is your only goal here, do something else. I mean that wholeheartedly. If you're on these channels, if your channel is solely to increase profit for you, find something else. Find another YouTube trend to follow. Start watching cringe videos. Start skibbity toileting all over the place and all that shit. Whatever the hell these kids are saying nowadays. Follow the machine. But there are going to be a sect of us, and I count myself in this because this is exactly the plan. I will use this platform to serve my needs. That's it. I'm going to be straightforward with you guys. I'm here because I want to express myself. If it pays bills, awesome. But I want to express myself, and I want to cultivate a community that has helped me personally grow into the man that I am today. It sounds cheesy, but I've learned so many life lessons through song lyrics, and I've gained perspectives on how to deal with complex emotions through music and song and stuff. And I want to propagate that. I want to cultivate that. I don't care what it is. It can be once again, I'm huge into the blues. I would consider myself more of a blues guitarist than anything else. I want to propagate that kind of stuff because I feel like that is worth putting in effort. And sure, if I pay bills, great. But I'm not looking to be a millionaire. I'm not looking to have Ray branded guitar amps or pedal out bullshit fucking consumer market grade lessons or anything like that. I want to use YouTube as a means of making an impact, making a difference, even if it's in one person's life, right? Making a positive influence on somebody through whatever medium. And I think that's the course. I think that's the course we're on now. I don't think we're going to go back to the days of lucrative, hyper famous YouTube guitarists. I think that's done for. But I think that's also a good thing. And I think it's a good thing because it's going to force people to really put effort. Now the cream will rise, right? Now that there's not as much money into it, right? Now that it's not on the front page of the algorithm, now that you got to dig deeper to find it, that's when you get good shit. Because now all the people that are going to be in these channels, all these channel creators, yours truly, it's just going to be expressions of passion. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I'm going to do shorts when I feel like doing shorts. I'm going to put out videos when I feel like doing videos. And, you know, I have a lot I want to say, so I am going to be putting out a lot of videos, right? I love this stuff. This is great. But I'm not going to do it to fit a corporate standard or to fucking meet the algorithm or be on the front page of whoever. Fuck it, dude. You know, if you're good enough, people are going to go find you. They're going to go look for you. The word of mouth works. When you're good enough, people are going to discover you. Look at the... I keep talking about Pantera, but they're so apropos here. They're so appropriate here. You look at the album Great Southern Trendkill. You look at the music world when the Great Southern Trendkill dropped. That was such a fucking meteor crash in this world. Metallica was doing like Load and Reload around the time, I think. Right? Like things got real soft for a while. But god damn it, if Pantera didn't release the exact fucking opposite of what was going on, what was popular. And not only that, but god, that was a wake-up call. Holy shit, that was a wake-up call. And that's the motivation, man. Be that. Why not? They did it. You know, look at the metal industry when Megadeth released Dystopia. What was going on, right? The metal world has always been counterculture. It always has been. That's how I've always viewed it. It's always been a community. It's always been open to anybody and everybody. It's such a beautiful thing. And there's no dollar that'll touch that. There's no algorithm that'll beat that, fabricate it. You can't replicate it. You're not going to have an AI build any of that bullshit, dude. It is so pure. And so that's why I'm okay with it. And that's why I'm not going to stop making videos. Fuck, I'm not going to stop playing guitar, bro. I'm in it, dude. I'm in it to fucking win it. I'm here for tasty ass fucking riffs, bro. I'm here for Wheedlies. I'm here for Squidlies. I'm here for Widdly Waws, Squidly Waws, all of it, bro. All of it. I want it all. And I'm going to take all of you with me. We're going to go on this journey. We're going to explore this, dude. I want to share this shit with the world. And by the time you're watching this, I should have a video of me talking about wrestling and heavy metal when that was badass. That's pretty fucking cool. Just a lot of cool shit, bro. And there's going to be more down the pipeline. You know, I got a drummer that I've been working with about making original music. I'm motivated now more than ever. You know, I give fuck less about the algorithm. I was never motivated by the money to begin with. I see this as more of an opportunity than anything else. I see this as an opportunity to really step up and just share my story with the world. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. That's more like a dime at this point, but that's how I feel about it. The algorithm's gonna algorithm. It was nice while it lasted. It is what it is, but don't be discouraged by it. As a matter of fact, be motivated by it. Use this opportunity to express yourself, to truly be creative with it and tap in to that core essence of why you're doing this. Anyways, that's it. I've been Ray. Welcome to the channel. Live streaming video games. I play a lot of video games. We'll be doing that. I got music that I'm working on with my drummer that I think is going to be pretty tight. I'm also going to be sharing some older music too. All kinds of shit. So buckle in, strap in. It's going to be a hell of a ride. And no matter what, stay metal. Jesus Christ, that's fucking cheesy.